the importance of your explanation of benefits. I'm Jill Horner. This is Comcast Newsmakers. With me is Trinidad Navarro. He's the Delaware Insurance Commissioner. Thanks so much for being with us.
My pleasure.
We get these in the mail, these explanation of benefits, after we have a medical procedure or a doctor's appointment, but we may not even open them. We may not look at these explanation of benefits, but you say that's the wrong move. We should really examine them. Why so?
Well, one of the biggest pushes that we're doing in the office now is to look at insurance fraud. So oftentimes people receive those EOBs in the mail and they don't look at them. And so we have had recently people report that they have actually looked at the line by line of what they were charged for. And it turned out in a handful of cases people were being charged for or billed for procedures that didn't happen. So it's really important to, I know oftentimes, and I'm guilty of it, of receiving that letter from my insurance company and say, that's just another one of those letters, and I throw it out. And you shouldn't do that. And so that's how we find and investigate types of fraud that are happening here in the state of Delaware.
It can be challenging, though, to know if we have been billed correctly or the explanation of benefits is actually correct, because there are hundreds, if not thousands, of codes when it comes to medical procedures. How do we know that the correct ones have been applied?
You know, I don't quote our president very often, but he did say that insurance can be really complicated. And he said that really early on in his tenure. But it is true that the codes, unless you actually know what to look for, it is difficult. But it's pretty easy to see if you've had, for example, you went to a chiropractor and you had to be adjusted. And then they charge you for an extra, some type of other procedure on top of that that you didn't have. And that's what happened at least one or two occasions where we've seen that people were charged, or the insurance was charged for procedures that didn't occur. So
if we do see an additional procedure that is on this explanation of benefits that we did not have or a family member did not have, what then do we do?
They simply call us. Folks don't know that the Delaware Department of Insurance, we actually investigate insurance fraud. Many think we sell insurance, and that's not the case. So when we find cases like this, we turn it over to our fraud bureau, and they follow up on that, and they notify the company. And typically we do what's called a consent decree, which means that when we find someone who's committed fraud, it's easier to have them pay a fine and admit to it than actually prosecute them. We are prosecuting them as well, but they're the more egregious cases.
And with that, could it just be a case of a miscoding in some cases?
Oh, absolutely. And I think oftentimes when the billing offices in a family physician's office, they're rushed, or that they're trying to find a code that best fits. So in most cases, it's not fraud when we're dealing with physicians. But sadly, we have seen a handful of them this year.
But bottom line is, open those envelopes and look at those explanation of benefits.
Otherwise, you wouldn't know.
Thanks so much for being with us.
My pleasure.
We've been talking with Trinidad Navarro. He is the Insurance Commissioner for Delaware. I'm Jill Horner.